Welcome back to Cover 3. I am your host, 49ers First Takes. It's me, it's Dre from Dre Area Sports. We are Cover 2 today. Our guy, Sterling Bennett, is not available. He's doing family things. So we're going to hold it down here for this Friday and talk about Niners v. Falcons. 4-2 49ers against the 3-2 Atlanta Falcons. Niners facing a stiff test against a really good defense and really good offense. So before we get into that, Dre, how you holding up, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I got some breaking news that just dropped just a few minutes ago, courtesy of Kyle Shanahan. If you want to bring up that screen I'm sharing, it's been announced Brock Purdy is out for Sunday's game against the Falcons, and Mac Jones will indeed be the starter, going against the number 1 ranked defense in Atlanta and the number 2 ranked offense with the Atlanta Falcons. So Mac Jones will be the quarterback come Sunday.
Wow. I mean, we just talked about this off air.
We just talked about it.
And we said that, Mac's doing all the press all week. He's got to be the guy. They wouldn't do Brock. They wouldn't do Mac like that. And sure enough, boom. We get the story. I mean, we kind of knew that was coming already.
We kind of knew that was coming. We did.
The Niners have been super ambiguous about. It's funny then, like sometimes they're super truthful and forward about injuries. Sometimes they're kind of like murky. They've kind of been like that with this injury and the Brandon Ayuk situation. But yeah, get ahead of it. It's Friday. Ah, man, I don't know, man. It's I'll tell you what, though, the conversation, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but the conversation that this situation with him being out and Mac Jones playing is starting a whole bunch of other interesting football takes that we're definitely going to hit on. But, yeah, Brock Purdy out versus the Falcons.
He's out. He's out.
Any other? I don't know if we have any other breaking injury news besides that you want to share with us.
Yeah, so let's go over some of the news we have here today, and then we'll get on to our topics. Of course, here's a huge list of players that did not practice today. Up to Stout with a shoulder injury. He did not practice. I think this is more of a precautionary measure to make sure that he's ready for Sunday night, that they're going to need him against that high-powered offense of the Atlanta Falcons. Let me tweet out this stream. We also have Ricky Pearsall. He didn't practice. He's likely going to be out, and Kyle Shanahan is addressing the media now. He's probably going to announce that Pearsall is not going to play. He has that deep bruise in his knee, and of course, I think he has the it's like a PCL injury as well. Yep. So, but today John Lynch, I know I think he was on the radio. He talked about how they're really impressed with Ricky Pearsall and what he's done so far this year. Obviously, it's frustrating that he's injured, but it's looking like he's probably not going to play this Sunday against the Falcons, which they could really use his help.
Yes, they could.
Another break. Oh, and also, Yetur Gross-Matos was not there as well as he deals with the hamstring injury. And of course, the big injury news of the day. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been put on IR with a calf injury, so he'll be out the next 4 weeks. Is this a big blow for San Francisco? Not really, because you're getting back Jordan Watkins. So Watkins essentially replaces Valdez-Scantling. At the same time, MVS didn't really have a huge role on the team. He was more or less the number 4 receiver when he was out there, maybe number 3 at times. So to me, look, it sucks that they don't have him, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. And then, of course, on the other side of the field for the Atlanta Falcons, they have 2 big injuries that they're dealing with, one of which is Jalen Walker. Their first-round pick, Jalen Walker, will not be out there. He's out for Sunday's game. Obviously, the linebacker, pass rusher, he will not be there for the Falcons. They actually have another injury, too. Let me see if I can find that. But that's what I have so far. No Jalen Walker. There's another player for the Falcons that's going to be out as well. It's escaping me right now. Completely escaping me. But when I find out...
is it... he used to be on our team. Wide receiver...
Ray McLeod. That's who it is. Ray McLeod will not be suiting up for the Falcons this Sunday. He's also listed as out for the Atlanta Falcons. Then again, but he's not really the biggest offensive threat. So then there's that. So that's what I have so far for the injury report going into Sunday's game on a Friday.
Oh my gosh. Every week, bro. It's crazy.
At least Valdez-Scantling isn't like, a key contributor to the offense. So another thing I heard too, this comes courtesy of Larry Krueger, is that he will. No, actually, this is Matt Mayoko, I think, that Jordan Watkins will be returning punts for San Francisco instead of Sky Moore. So that will be interesting to see because Jordan Watkins does have the speed. Yeah.
Throw him right on the field to get nailed. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's 11 guys coming at you. Don't get hurt, okay?
Don't get hurt. Don't get re-injured. Thank you.
Yeah, so the receiving core for the Niners will likely look like this: Kendrick Bourne, Juwan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, Sky Moore, and Jordan Watkins. I would say Watkins is probably higher up on the food chain than, let's say, a Sky Moore, but then again, Sky Moore has been there since week 1 while he's just now getting back into the fold. I can sense a lot of passes heading Kendrick Bourne's way. And of course, one more big news for San Francisco. Sunday night marks the return of none other than this guy right here, Mr. George Kittle, back to the Niners roster. He already confirmed he will be back this Sunday. This is probably one of the biggest returns of any player the Niners can get, which is George Kittle. He's going to help improve the run game. He's going to be a receiving threat as a tight end. George Kittle does a lot for this team, and especially with Fred Warner now being out, this is going to be a huge pickup for San Francisco getting George Kittle back on the field.
Interesting news, though, and I know you guys know I just love to talk about injuries.
Yeah.
The talk from yesterday that people quote that people were running with is he actually had a torn hamstring. He suffered a torn hamstring. Torn hamstring. And nobody knew that. That was not reported until yesterday.
Yeah. Not even Matt Mayoko. None of those guys knew that.
Nobody touched it. They were talking a ton about I was trying to find different clips of him talking. The only one he was really talking about is what's going on with the run game and the pass game and what what are the reasons and that. I didn't see the clip. I didn't see a soundbite of him talking about it. But man, dude, Dre, like, wow. So I was looking at injuries to your hamstring and tears. Those can be like multi-month recovery. Sometimes some people say 2 to 3 months or more. And they're going on, he was out 6 weeks and he's back for week 7. So definitely something that I'm not going to lie, it's in the back of my mind, depending on, because what he does, he's so physical. He's in the pass game, he's in the run game. He does everything for us. And torn hamstring is not something to sneeze at, man. That's a serious injury.
It's a really serious injury. And one of the questions I had, too, is why do you think the Niners didn't tell anyone that it was a torn hamstring? Maybe they didn't know early on, and once they did, they were like, well, why bother telling the media? Let's just work on getting him back. I don't know. Why do you think they kept that a secret?
Why do they keep secrets on a lot of stuff that they do when it comes to injuries? I think the 49ers are just... It's on a need-to-know basis, and if you don't need to know, they don't need to tell you. They're like that. They're like that with a lot of injuries. We always find out, we've had stuff in the past where we've had guys be hurt, and they're supposed to come back, and this and that, and then there's the famous, re-injury or a famous, it's more serious than we thought. This happens all the time. I really don't know why they didn't disclose. What's the word I'm looking for? Disclose that to the media. It boggles my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but nonetheless, I mean, it makes sense why he was out for so long because, I mean, look, if you're tearing your hamstring, that's a huge injury to overcome in a short amount of time. So it makes sense why he was out for as long as he was. And it also makes sense that once the 4 weeks was up, why he needed an additional week to get back out on the field. Because I was like, well, why wasn't he out there last week? But now it makes sense. If he had a torn hamstring, that's going to take a while. So I'm just happy to hear that George Kittle's going to come back because they need his energy. They need his leadership. They need his blocking in the run game. I swear to God, if they go out there Sunday and all of a sudden Christian McCaffrey is running the ball like he was in 2023, I'm going to be like, wow, Sign Kittle to another extension because we can't afford to lose him anymore. Give him some robotic legs, an iron hamstring, something.
Rebuild him like Darth Vader, man. Put him on the table and just give him bionic implants.
It's only a matter of time, Aaron. I'm telling you right now, it's only a matter of time before we start seeing players getting their tendons switched out for artificial tendons that don't rip. You know what I mean? Like, even Nick Bosa.
The Niners will be at the forefront of all that.
Yeah, the cutting edge. I mean, even Nick Bosa. I mean, let's face it. Look, when he tore his ACL, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Isn't there some kind of thing you put in there that doesn't tear anymore? Because they're like, oh, well, you have to harvest a tendon from that. Why harvest something? You can't put like a piece of rubber or some kind of material that's just as durable as a tendon. I mean, come on. It's only a matter of time. I'm telling you right now. Once they figure that out, then no one has these catastrophic injuries. They'll be like, oh yeah, Joe Johnson is getting ACL replacement surgery in the offseason. That way he won't have to worry about tearing his ACLs anymore. It'll be something crazy like that.
It'll become preventative surgery where they
just
replace everything: elbows, shoulders, knees, ankles. The Niners could use it because they, as usual, have like the longest injury report in the history of injury reports. I've gotten to a point now with the injuries where I make jokes out of it because that's the only way I can deal with it. Because I'm really irritated about it and pissed because it's a running excuse that we've been living off of for the last, 2 seasons, and back in 2020, and back in 2021, and back in 2022. It's all the time. It's never ending. So you have to make jokes out of it. Otherwise, you go crazy. That's why if you're following me on X, you're seeing a ton of those TikTok videos where people are using AI to just. You have to laugh at it, man. People are putting holiday decorations up. They have all the injured 49ers. Like, what are we doing? Like, we have to laugh about it because it's just unprecedented. People are like, oh, other teams have injuries. Stop coping. It's not like that with other teams. This year, yes, the NFL's got a ton of injured players. I don't know what's going on, but like the Niners have this all the time. This is like par for the course. So, yeah.
No, definitely. But I would say this, though. The way that the organization and Kyle Shanahan has handled this year's a slew of injuries has been much better than last year or even a couple of years ago, or I should say 3 years ago. I think that, the way that Shanahan has handled this, he's had much more experience. And I think having a capable, what's up, Bebop? Having a capable defensive coordinator is what this man needs. I think that if you're going to have Kyle Shanahan as your head coach, you got to have somebody, a defensive coordinator that can literally run the defense without him intervening whatsoever. He could focus strictly on the offense. We saw last season when he had to worry about the defense when it came to what's his name? Who was the D coordinator last year?
Who was the D coordinator last year? Help us in the comments.
I want to say Svensson, but it's not. I'm blanking right now, but
he was so bad we forgot about
Sorensen.
Nick Sorensen, yeah.
When they had Nick Sorensen, he was constantly having to look at what's happening on defense because they were fucking up left and right. The year before that with Steve Wilks. Wilks did a pretty good job, but he still had to keep his eye on what was happening defensively. We saw even in the Super Bowl, he had to call a defensive timeout because they were playing this weak coverage that were allowing big gains by the Chiefs. And Shanahan was like, what the hell are you doing? Now that he has Robert Saleh, you're seeing a much better side of Kyle Shanahan. He's more locked in. He's more focused on what needs to happen. He's more of a head coach, as opposed to trying to control what's happening on defense and offense. Now, I would say you go back to when you had DeMeco Ryans, you go back to when you had Robert Saleh. This is more in line with what we expect from Kyle Shanahan. The past couple years with Sorensen and Wilks, you can tell his mind was a little busier than it had been in the past.
Yeah. I mean, even this year we were struggling on defense, but he said it in the beginning of the year, Saleh. Get ready for a ride. Like we knew, we talked about, it's funny, me and Sterling talked about it and it was like, we say it, but do we believe that they're like, oh yeah, a lot of rookies starting. Yeah. Expect, we're going to have some game. We were doing our scheduling prediction and we were talking about how There's going to be a lot of games where, there's going to be some missed assignments and guys out of place and people blowing coverages. You talk about it, but then it actually happens. But saying that, based on what you just said, if there's anybody I would love to have in the building when they're going through something like that, it's Robert Saleh.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We have some more breaking news. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up right now.
Yep.
And of course, it is more injury news. So here we go. Ricky Pearsall is officially out for Sunday night's game against the Atlanta Falcons at Levi Stadium. So no Ricky Pearsall Sunday night. We kind of knew this was coming, but now it's official. Ricky Pearsall is out.
I'll tell you what, man, that's with this Ricky Pearsall news, I mean, like, my man's a little bit injury prone, man. Coming back to, going back to last year. Yes, we know he got shot. We know that happens. We knew that happens. That's not
that happened. It happens, I got shot last week.
I got shot this morning. No, but like he's good. He's really good. He needs to be on the field. But it is what it is, man. Like, I wouldn't expect anything else right now from this team. I have to learn to just accept the reality that is just how it's going to be this year. When with some guys, it's always going to be like this. It's football's a contact sport. Not everybody's meant to play it. I'm sorry. I think everybody's bodies are different.
I think Ricky Pearsall was having a really good year. I think he's going to have a really good year. In fact, I would probably guess that he'll be back next week against the Texans.
We keep saying that, no, Dre, and we're like next week. It's
next week. Well, you know what? I really thought Brock Purdy was coming back this week because we're playing at home. We're playing on grass. I'm like, he's gonna come back, but no. I think Brock is looking at what happened in week 3 against the Jags, or week 4.
Week 4. I think.
I think he looked. I think that was a big reality check. I think that in week 4 he was like, "No, dude, I'm good enough to go. I'm coming back." He played like shit, and I think he realized, okay, you know what? That was embarrassing. I went out there and I played like crap, and everyone's criticizing what I'm doing. I'm definitely going to take my time and make sure that I am 100%. But if he comes back next week, then he can't be on IR. He'd have to miss an additional week. I think that he'll be back next week for the Houston Texans. I think that's when he comes back.
Strawberry React is speaking to my soul because, like, I am. When it comes,
he should have went on IR to begin with.
I don't know why they just didn't put him on IR.
I know. It's ridiculous.
We might as well get into the topic. I was going to wait on it, but we might as well because we're talking about Brock. We're talking about Mac. A lot of people, including people that I don't really talk to or like to talk to, have made comments about, like, hey, if Mac's playing, are the Niners waiting to bring certain players back because they want Brock to have all the weapons? And if that's the case, why don't they try that with Mac? And then there's other people that have played that are talking about the Brock versus Mac. Like, are the Niners better off with Mac Jones? We brought it up a couple weeks ago. Sterling wasn't having it. But there's people talking about it, people that have played. We got a clip here. I want to play it, and we could talk about it after. It's LaShawn McCoy. I don't know who the other guys are, but essentially they're talking about if the Niners are in a better place having Mac Jones play quarterback.
The 49ers are now expected to start Mac Jones yet again for another week.
Why?
The team does
Why
not
are you
want...
clapping?
I mean, what?
Did you not watch last week?
He can't like Mac.
Bro.
Okay.
Did we not watch last week?
It did look bad out.
It was terrible.
It wasn't
terrible.
It was terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
He had 3 picks and no touchdowns.
Including a pick nearly 6.
Yeah. Nah,
it was bad.
It wasn't terrible.
Bad.
2
Really
picks.
watched the game. It wasn't terrible.
What do you think? I fake watched the game?
Anyway,
Did you pause him?
the team does not want Brock Purdy to suffer another relapse of injury. The question is for you guys, if they're continuously worried about this injury happening again or a relapse of this injury, they have to let this thing get all the way to 100 where they know for a fact it's not going to happen. Should Mac Jones just be the starter for the rest of the season? Because I don't think you should miss that much time as a starting quarterback.
This is what I think is going on.
What, Shady?
I think they feel more comfortable with Mac Jones at quarterback than Brock Purdy. I'm telling you, yo.
Because of the injury or just because?
However you want to look at it. Coaches is good at that.
Okay.
They're making excuses. Oh, he's not healthy 100%. I've been there. No, dude, you don't want him playing yet. I get it. What I'm saying is, when you watch their offense, they work better with Mac Jones. I'm just telling you. I'm not talking about when they had them superstars 2-3 years ago. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about right now, when you watch Brock Purdy play this year, and you watch Mac Jones, who's playing better? Who played better so far?
Up until last game, Mac Jones.
All right.
Up until last game.
Okay. But brother can have a bad game
But
now.
here's the problem with everything Shady's talking about. When the game is on time, Brock Purdy plays Mac Jones plays better when it's on time. But when anything changes schematically for the defense and it's off time, now it's Brock Purdy. And Shady knows this better than anybody in this room and anybody watching this show. The game of football ain't played on paper. So if it's just on paper, line perfectly protects, the routes are run against the coverage we want it to be run against, then of course it's Mac Jones. He's beautifully playing on time. But the moment all of a sudden the defense runs a stunt and, oh crap, I got to escape the pocket, now Brock Purdy clears Mac Jones and it's not close.
Yeah, but if you really watch Kyle Shanahan's offense, a lot of this on time. I mean, obviously things break down,
Correct.
things happen. But can we be honest? He had a bad game. But yo, we all have bad games. And I think it's Mac Jones, so we make it a bigger thing. I guarantee you this much. Who they play this week?
They play the Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons. Falcons coming off a good one.
He gonna ball.
Yeah.
He gonna ball against them.
Wow.
You think? They got no one defense.
I know, but George Kittle's coming back.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the next thing I was going to bring up. George Kittle, hamstring, said he's fully ready to play this week.
I'm telling you right now, that's the difference between, and I don't think Mac Jones is no world beater, but I will say this: a first-round talent quarterback compared to a seventh-round last pick in the draft, they run the offense different. And I think when Kyle Shanahan got a first-round type talent dude from Alabama, you can see the difference. That's all I'm saying.
But here's the problem.
That's all I'm saying.
Mac Jones can't afford to have a bad game because Brock Purdy's making $50 million a year. So, the Niners want to play Brock Purdy. So, Mac, you got to be perfect to keep Purdy on the bench.
Hold on. Don't act like Brock Purdy don't have no bad games.
But he's making $50 million. I don't care about a bad game.
Yeah, but well, first of all, when you make that
check.
type of money,
Not yet.
But you always gonna be the starter. What I'm saying is, we gonna start hearing people in the comments talk about it. When Brock Purdy comes back and he doesn't look as good as Mac Jones, we're gonna hear it's gonna get chaotic, and everybody gonna talk about it. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, but Mac Jones has to play better then. You feel me? Mac Jones has 4 starts on the season, and one of them was atrocious.
That's okay. That's football. That's a football. Joe Flacco been playing bad and you want to freaking do backflip because he had a good game. It happens all the time. My team, my quarterback, he plays bad and he plays. Everybody does it. That's the NFL. Joe, the best quarterback in football,
Patrick Mahomes.
He has some bad games.
Yes, he does.
He's balling right now. Josh Allen, number 2 best quarterback in football.
Had a bad game last week.
He played great all year and he had a bad. You see what I'm saying? Sure. It's football. You're going to have bad games. And when you're a really good player, they put the ball in your hand. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And when you mess up, let's do it again because you're that good. That's what happens.
There's so many things in there to pick out. And there's so many truths to what each of them are saying. I see the comment about Jesse Naylor trying to create controversy. That's what they do, man. I'm not even trying to bag on him anymore. It's whatever. That's what they do, him and Grant, all those guys. But I hate to say this, Strawberry, I actually kind of agreed one thing that he said, and that is, are we waiting to bring back all the best players and making sure everybody's healthy when Brock is healthy? Why not? If players are healthy, they need to come back while Mac is playing too. I don't want to have it to where Mac is playing with a bunch of bums if guys are ready. That's all I'm saying. But what do you think, man, Dre? I mean, there's bits of truth in all of that on both sides.
Yeah, I think what you got is you got a guy like Sean McCoy who's basically talking about first-round draft pick talent when it comes to Mac Jones. And I think that at times Jones has shown that he's a first-round draft pick talent because he's got the arm strength. He can be very accurate at times. But I think Mac Jones is more of a quarterback that we would have seen in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
In the 90s, he would have been the prototypical quarterback.
Yeah, and mobile.
But now, the quarterbacks are different now. Even Baker Mayfield, you could argue, well, he's more of a drop back passer. Yeah, but look what he did. He ran for 14 yards and got a first down. He does a lot of incredible things. So when it comes to Mac Jones, I think when you watch their offense with Mac, I think you're looking more at what you saw with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a Jimmy Garoppolo offense. It's get the ball out quick, use your checkdowns, take what the defense gives you, and sort of just keep the line moving. And that's sort of what they've been doing. He hasn't been throwing the ball downfield all that much. I think Brock throws the ball downfield way more often, and Brock looks to attack downfield more often. So that's one big difference. And when Brock is healthy, I think that Brock needs to, or I think that Brock is able to escape the pocket because of his escapability and his mobile ability to get first downs and to get yardage, which we haven't seen from him really this year because, for one, he was being pressured like all hell against Seattle, and then against the Jags, he was never really healthy enough to run around. So they're different kinds of players. He talks about when they're on time, Mac Jones is great. When they're on time, Brock Purdy is great. Any quarterback, especially in a Kyle Shanahan offense, if the offense is playing on time, they're going to execute. And we've seen the Niners execute with Brock Purdy when they're on time. But like they were saying, the difference is that when they're not on time, that's where Mac Jones struggles. But that's where Brock Purdy will thrive and make things happen with his feet and extend plays and look for ways to keep the offense moving. Now, I think in 2023, he did an incredible job at doing that. And there were times where all of us were like, oh, God, what are you doing? Especially when he would kind of run backwards and kind of like, oh, man, but he got away with it. He made it happen. Last year in 2024, we saw Brock start to make mistakes when he would extend plays. And you can argue, well, he had a lack of talent. Well, at the same time, his brain didn't change. So he has to rely on his quarterback IQ and make the right decisions and not turn the ball over. And if he needs to, he's got to throw it away. And that's one thing I do see Mac Jones do a lot more is he throws the ball away if he can't find anybody and it's not going to work out. But I hear what they're saying. I definitely do. But again, when Brock Purdy is healthy, he will be the starter for San Francisco.
I feel like the Mac Jones thing is starting to run its course. And I feel like the longer you have him out there, the more you'll start to see why he is the backup. You see it. I honestly don't really know how to read Brock Purdy this year because he hurt himself very early in that Seattle game. And he was trying to make things happen. Same thing he did with the Jaguars. So I want to see him healthy before I make any type of like withdraw any type of like analysis or analyze anything that's going on. I want to see him healthy. I mean, Mac is a pocket quarterback. And there's nothing else you can say about him. Yeah, you're right. He's a prototypical late 90s, early 2000s, sit in the pocket and just take what the defense gives you. So, I mean, hey, hopefully get Brock back sooner than later. They paid him all that money for a reason. They believe he's the one that's going to take him to where they need to go. But, these conversations are with these guys. Like I said, there's parts that everybody's saying that are right. But at the end of the day, I personally think Brock Purdy is going to give you the best chance to get you back to a Super Bowl other than Mac Jones. Mac Jones has done great in his time. I thought he played awful last week, especially in the second half. So we'll see. We're going to get another test against a really good Atlanta defense. Atlanta defense has 14 sacks on the year. The Niners have a hard time stopping the pass rush and give up a ton of pressure. So that's going to be something to watch. 14 sacks is a pretty good amount of sacks early in the year. I think they're 11th in the league. So, and they're all from different players. They're not from like just one guy. They're coming from a lot of different places.
Yeah. I just think it's weird that, again, he's kind of leaning back on that narrative of, Mac Jones is a first-round talent. Brock Purdy is 7th-round pick. But Brock Purdy has achieved more than Mac Jones has. Now, you could argue, well, Mac Jones was on the Patriots, and then they were a horrible team when he was there.
Yeah.
Still had Bill Belichick. I mean, you can't say they were that bad. But, I mean, LaShawn McCoy is a 2nd-round pick. Right, and he's talking, they call him shady. He's throwing shade at Brock Purdy because he's a 7th-round pick. But Brock Purdy, led 2 comebacks in the playoffs. One against the Packers, the other against the Lions, and led his team to the Super Bowl and damn near won the entire thing. So, again, you can harp on Brock Purdy for being a 7th-round draft pick, but the guy has achieved so much in his career with San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still all in on Brock. I'm not that. I mean, we do this all the time. Somebody comes in and plays better than the starter. I just feel like in time we'll start to see that we need Brock Purdy back in the lineup. The longer I think Mac Jones gets exposed, the more you're going to see that we need Brock. I truly believe that. This happens all the time, especially with the 49ers.
Yeah.
And you also have to remember, too, just like with Brock, tape comes out on people. So people become less and less successful as time goes on if they're not able to, react to the changes that defenses are going to make. So we'll see. Speaking of injuries, speaking of players being out, I want to change the subject over to, of course, the unfortunate injury last week to Fred Warner out for the season. He's already had a surgery. He's having a new baby. They're gonna have a girl. He's out.
He's moved on.
I will tell this to people. I tweeted this today, and this is what people need to understand as fans. People get all depressed and sad over players getting hurt, and like we're so distraught about it that it's just ruining our lives. Let me tell you something. Fred Warner's living good right now. He's very wealthy. He's going to be okay. He's going to heal up. Him and his wife having a new baby. You can't care more than the athletes care, people. You can't. You got to learn to adjust. It's it's sports.
It's sports. It is what it is.
It's their job.
And it's like I've seen so many of these kind of things happen in my life of being a sports fan. I mean, look at last year in the NBA playoffs. Yeah. Steph Curry pulls hamstring. Done. Like, oh. So
Halliburton blows his Achilles.
Done. In game 7, which was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and the later you injure it is the later you're going to come back. So like,
yeah,
he's probably not going to be back until what, like the middle of next summer.
Who?
I mean, the injury, Halliburton.
Oh yeah, Halliburton. Other than Fred Warner.
It's like the Dre Greenlaw injury. You happen in the Super Bowl.
I mean, but at least Fred Warner, I mean, there's talk that he could be back mid-January. Right. That's if we get there. I'm not holding my breath on that. But even if he comes back, if they would have gotten to the NFC title game, then Tatum Bethune is obviously doing a very good job if they get all the way to the NFC title game. This is going to be a big test for him Sunday night against the number 2 ranked offense. Can he make up the loss for Fred Warner? Can he communicate? Can he keep the defense, engaged in what's going on? It's going to be a huge test for him. Huge test.
I literally have a marching band going down my street. I think it's for the high school down the street.
Really?
There's literally a marching band going down my street. I hear like people playing trumpets, and there's a big drums. Oh yeah, look, they're definitely. I live right near a high school. Probably.
I used to. I thought that was annoying.
2 football fields away. Yeah, I hear. Geez, that's loud. Can you hear that?
I can't hear it at all.
Thank gosh. Sorry.
The Shure mic doesn't pick up anything like too far away.
Yeah, the Shure mics are great. Nobody can replace Warner Strawberry.
No, absolutely. Nobody can replace Warner.
He's irreplaceable. And I like the Niners. Listen, I'm old. I love that the Niners are trying to sell us on, next man up, and he has a good chance to be his own player. And listen, starters are starters for a reason. Starters get paid for a reason. I think Bethune in time will be a solid linebacker, but he's not going to be Fred Warner.
No, he's not going to be Fred Warner at all.
Kyle said it at halftime last week, and the Niners didn't do it. He said everybody has to elevate. Like, everybody has to bring their game up or rally. The word he used was rally, which means, and I was talking to my brother about this, is that when big-time players go down and that they're in charge of communication, they're in charge of putting people in position and getting people into position, and now they're not there. That's you as a player. That's on you. You got to get better at that. You can't be led around by the nose by one of your own players and not know what to do in situations. So they played like that last week. They played like they didn't know what they were doing. They played like they were depending too much on Fred for everything. And now these players are going to have to step up, all of them, Bethune, everybody. He's not the crutch. Bosa, those guys, not the crutch. You can't rely on guys like that's the one thing I noticed last week is like man, it's like these guys have never played professional football before. Like, what's going on here?
Well, but at the same time, I think when you lose a guy like Fred Warner in the middle of a game or at the beginning of a game, at any time in a game, I think that's a major psychological blow to the rest of the team, especially for a guy like Tatum Bethune, who's now being thrust into the game, and they're probably all wondering, is he out for the season? Is he out for a few weeks? Like, what's going on with Fred Warner? That's our leader out there, and now he's gone. He's probably the most important guy on defense to go down. And so one of the things that we talked about before even the show was that I asked you, who would you rather, like, if you had to pick one player between Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, who was the bigger loss for the defense? Who would you rather have, Nick Bosa or Fred Warner?
Fred.
I would rather have Nick Bosa.
But Nick's position can be done by either, by committee, where he could bring
but it
one or two
hasn't.
guys in.
They've
No,
got
I'm
no
saying-
pass rush. They
No,
get
I
barely
agree.
any sacks. They're worse against the run. I think
feel
that
like-
he's a bigger factor than Fred Warner. I think Fred Warner's a living superhero. Don't get me wrong. But out of the two of them, if I had to choose, they say, hey, one of them's got to go. I would choose Nick Bosa to be healthy.
Right, but Fred impact was felt immediately after he left.
It's true.
At least with Nick gone, if you go to make a trade or a move or two, you can bring people in. Maybe you can somewhat replicate what he was, because the pass rush wasn't great with Nick there anyways.
Yeah.
It was okay, but they have like 1 or 2 sacks on the year. They don't have 2, 3, maybe. With Fred, it looked like I said, it looked like guys just people were out of position. People were just. Fred does so much to get guys to be in the position to be successful on the field, whereas Nick, I mean, like I said, he brings somebody in. I feel like you can somewhat make up for his loss. Fred Warner's loss. He's the quarterback of the defense. I really felt like after they lost him last week, they look like all a bunch of deer in headlights, a bunch of young guys that didn't know whether to crap or wind their watch. So, but I understand. I mean, Nick, yeah, because he's an elite level pass rushers, and those are hard to come by.
Well, since we're on the topic of elite pass rushers, we know that the Niners are engaging in talks with their teams, looking at possible trades to
transition, by the way,
to get a pass rusher. Now, look. I said it on Monday's show with Tyler. I said, you can forget about trying to get a guy like Trey Hendrickson. What's the fucking point? You're down Fred Warner. You're down Nick Bosa. You're almost done. But now cooler heads have prevailed. I've thought about this quite a bit. And look, if the trade works for San Francisco, and look, I would not give up a first-round pick. I wouldn't even give up a second-round pick. Maybe I'd give a second-round pick if he agrees to come over and sign an extension. Because we know at that point, if you sign him to an extension, you're not going to re-sign Juwan Jennings. You may look to move Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
But with the emergence of Ricky Pearsall, you're getting back Jordan Watkins, the emergence or the return of Kendrick Bourne. The way Kendrick Bourne is playing, maybe you don't need Juwan Jennings anymore. Maybe you just re-sign Bourne and say, that's the guy I'm going to go with. Because, look, he's doing exactly what Jennings was doing last year. He's making all the tough catches, all the big plays. Now, could it be because Mac Jones is familiar with Kendrick Bourne, so he feels comfortable throwing him the ball? Maybe. But my thing is this, and this is what I was saying in my video. If you go out and you get a guy like Trey Hendrickson, right? Let's say you trade a second-round pick and, I don't know, a future third-round pick, right? And you get Trey Hendrickson. He comes over and he signs an extension. Now, look, I'm just playing make-believe here. I'm not going to go over the numbers like, oh, he'd have to sign a $25 million contract. I'm just saying, let's say you got him for an extension and he's here for the next 2 to 3 years. Imagine 2026. You'd have Hendrickson on third down. You'd probably have Hendrickson, Micah Williams, Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff, all coming at you on third down, third and long.
If they could all stay healthy, that would be an amazing.
And not only that, but then on a regular down. Trey Hendrickson is not like a Bryce Huff where he's like a third down defensive end. He's an every down lineman. So he's out there every down, just like Nick Bosa. So imagine having him and Hendrickson and Bosa out there for the majority of the snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Collins, West, those guys, second year, taking over the middle. It'd be a pretty formidable defensive line, not only in the category of pass rush, but against the run as well.
You know they're going to add to their defensive line in the draft again this year.
They are, but here's the thing too: is that if you trade a second round pick for Trey Hendrickson and you're able to extend him, then to me that's worth giving up a second round pick because you're going to get him for at least 2 to 3 years.
Now I know a lot of people are saying, but he's old and whatever.
He's 30 years old.
He's got some good. 31.
He's got at least 3 to 4 years left in him.
Yeah.
At Premier, the guy has had back-to-back 17.5 sack seasons. Now look. Getting Hendrickson, that's like shooting for the moon, right? That's getting the most premier guy. And we've even heard today that the Eagles are expected to make an offer for Trey Hendrickson. I can't imagine the Eagles trading a bunch of second-round picks. I really don't. Thank you, Strawberry. But I think that if you're able to acquire Trey Hendrickson, right? Just hear me out. If you're able to bring in Trey Hendrickson, that replaces Nick Bosa. And now you're only down Fred Warner. So now, obviously, if we didn't lose Fred Warner, then you're like, oh, great, we just replaced Nick Bosa. We're back at like what we could have been at, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at least if you get a guy in Trey Hendrickson, then you're telling the team, we're not done. We're not giving up. We got the most elite pass rusher that was out there. Let's go for it. Let's see what we can do with the talent that we have. And that's a huge pickup for San Francisco.
If they're able to get him, if that was to happen, I wouldn't care what it cost, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't trade a first-round pick. That's my thing.
Besides a first-rounder, because then like, okay, they have that confidence that we maybe have a chance to do something. I think, unfortunately, Dre, and I'm not saying it can't happen, the Eagles are looking at him, so that might make the 49ers want to jump. They might feel froggy, as they would say.
They don't want him going to Philadelphia. Imagine if Philly gets him.
You can hand them the Super Bowl again.
Philly can they're at a point where they can acquire him and say, all right, well, we'll just keep you for the year and just try to repeat and figure that out in the offseason. If they trade for him and they get him to sign an extension, that's going to be, oh my God.
You want to make Philadelphia fans even more annoying? Give them a guy like Trey Hendrickson.
And also, let me say this, because I see Strawberry's comment about the Bengals just won. They wouldn't want to trade him. The Bengals likely have no intention of re-signing Trey Hendrickson to an extension. They barely got him signed this offseason before the first game of the season, right?
Right.
They didn't want to give Shamar Stewart the contract that he wanted as a first-round pick. So, to me, there is no indication that the Bengals are even want to re-sign Trey Hendrickson. But like any good franchise or any franchise in general, they're going to want something in return. They don't want to let him just walk and get nothing back in return. Obviously, if he goes and signs somewhere else, they'll get a compensation pick. But still, they're going to want something in return because they know that they can get something in return from teams that want a guy like Hendrickson this season.
So the Bengals are also cheap and don't really do a whole lot in the trade market. If I'm the 49ers, here's my thinking.
Right.
I think Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb is more up the Niners' alley. If I'm the Niners and then you get a guy like Jalen Phillips, you extend him immediately.
I think I like Will McDonald. I know he's coming off the ACL, but that's a guy I can see them going after for the Jets because Saul already knows the guy.
Just don't want another guy that's coming off of a massive injury, dude.
No, I know, but that wouldn't cost you. That would cost you like a 5th round pick. And if you can trade that, but is he going to replace Nick Bosa? No. So that's why I'm saying because
go by committee then go get two mid guys.
But then again, let's say you do that. Let's say you go get 2 mid guys. Then you make everything a little bit deeper. But then you got your Tier Gross Matos coming back. You got to deal with that. I just think, look, if you want to make the biggest impact you get Trey Hendrickson and you figure it out later. Because I think that's a guy, if he's here next season for 2026.
Did you say there's a guy? You sounded like Chris Concert for a second. Here's a guy. No, sorry.
But still, like, if you get Hendrickson, he automatically makes you a contender this season. Would you argue a Super Bowl contender? I don't know, but you're definitely a playoff contender if you get Trey Hendrickson. Next season, with him and Bosa and Bryce Huff and Michael Williams and everybody else, then it's like, holy shit, this defense is fucking stacked.
Yeah.
And we all know when you have a stacked defense, how much better the offense is going to be. Because now they can rely on the defense to shut you down. And now you're in year 3 of Ronaldo Green. You still got Demo Lenore. You got Malik Mustafa. Whoever the fuck they go with at safety. Now, here's the other thing, too. And this is what I was thinking about on my way to work. There's talk, obviously, that the Giants are interested in Juwan Jennings, right? So let's say you do this. Let's say you trade Juwan Jennings to the Giants. I know everyone's saying, for Thibodeau. Well, I think there's a chance that they trade a guy like Jennings for like a 4th-round pick. Let's say they get lucky and they get a 4th-round, 5th-round pick. They use the picks, whatever picks they get from this trade, and they package that along with whatever they're going to give for Hendrickson, and then to sweeten that pot to get him. Because the Eagles are going to offer probably multiple picks because they don't want to give up their 2nd, 1st-round picks. So they're going to offer like probably multiple 3rd-round picks, 4th round, whatever they have to make it more spicy. So I think the Niners could make an additional move to get a guy like Hendrickson. And a lot of people were like, don't do it. You don't need to go out and get this guy. I just think, look, if you get a guy like Hendrickson, what does that do as a franchise? That puts butts back in the seats. That gets everybody hyped. That gets the team excited. That tells the team, we're not done, guys. We're going for it. And maybe that's a shot in the arm this team needs, especially on defense. So that's why I think going for a guy like Hendrickson is a good idea.
I think it's all going to depend on how they play this weekend. If they can somehow get a win against Atlanta and go to 5-2.
Yes.
And then maybe have another winnable game the week after. I forget who they play.
They play the Houston Texans and the New York Giants.
All winnable games.
The Giants are playing really good with Jackson Dart, but I think that is manageable. The Niners have a chance to win 2 out of 3 here. I think they could win all 3 of them. This is the hardest game probably of the next 3 games is Atlanta, but you got them at home, so that helps. But you got Atlanta, the Giants, and Houston.
Yep.
So I'd say that's 2 out of 3 winnable games. I mean, really, they can win all 3 of them, but I think 2 out of 3 I feel more comfortable with. And I think that if you're able to get a defensive pass rusher, especially a Trey Hendrickson, that's going to change the dynamic of the team.
Their defense the Niners defense just doesn't do anything well right now.
Well, but when you look at the guys they have, right? You got Michael Williams, who's getting double teamed the most in the league, next to Myles Garrett. Because he's a true pass. He's a young, big defensive end. They're like, hey, double team him. Then you look at everybody else. When you look at C.J. West, Alfred Collins, Kalia Davis, Jordan Elliott. Who are those guys? Those guys are run-stopping threats. Those guys are not pass rushers. Then you got Bryce Huff on the other side. He's a small guy. He's a speed rusher who really should be out there on 3rd down. Then you got Sam O. He's does a pretty good job. But he doesn't get a push. He's not a guy who's like, oh, when Sam O is out there, he's always in the quarterback's face. No, he's not. So I think, you got a lot of guys on the line that were made to stop the run, even though they didn't do a very good job last week. But you don't have a lot of true pass rushers other than Bryce Huff, who shouldn't be out there every down. And even Michael Williams, really, when they drafted him, he was not projected to be a huge pass rusher. He was more of a run-stopping threat, setting the edge. You were relying a lot on Bosa and Huff to bring the heat. So I think you got to make a move to get somebody in here. I would take Will McDonald. I think you could probably give up a 5th-round draft pick. The guy has 2 sacks, 13 pressures in 6 games. And in 2024, he had 10.5 sacks. So at least that's getting somebody in here that can make a difference. Because look, I love Sam O, but he doesn't really do much of anything. And when those guys play sparingly, they do more. Like the Sam O is the one who stripped Smith and Jigba in week 1, but he was fresh because he was spelling, guys like Bryce Huff and Nick Bosa. So he was coming in and out, staying fresh. He made a play. So that's my whole take on Trey Hendrickson. I think if they were able to get him without giving up a first round pick and extend him, it'd be huge.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a nice. I don't know how the Niners look at themselves. I don't know what the Niners look at themselves as right now. I don't know I'm talking about in the building. I'm talking about John and Kyle. What's their honest assessment of this team? How far can they go? If you're going to go for a rental, you got to be sure, or at least close to sure, that you have the potential to go on a massive run. They're just not as skilled. The Niners have a talent deficit on defense. Like, it's just so glaring on defense.
But to me, that's not how I would look at it. I would look at it as, if we get a guy like Hendrickson, how does that help us next year and the year after? And how does it also help us?
Long game.
Yeah, and how does it also help us this season? Well, this season, it makes us even more competitive. Now we have a pure pass rusher who's out there. Now a pass rusher that the offense has to account for every down.
Yep.
And then next year, barring any injuries, knock on wood, you would have a monster defensive line. But to me, you only get Hendrickson if he agrees to an extension, because more than likely, I don't think they re-sign Juwan Jennings. I think they let him walk. And that's what I'm saying. As long as it's not a rental, I'm fine with that. If you had Warner and Bosa and you got Trey Hendrickson as a rental, fine. I don't care. Only get him if he agrees to an extension, then I get him. Yep. But also this too, the Bengals, remember, like I was saying, they really have no intention of probably re-signing him.
They're cheap. They don't pay anybody.
They've dumped a fuck ton of money into their 2 receivers and their quarterback. Their offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
And they barely signed Shamar Stewart, their first round pick, because he wanted a more guaranteed contract that they didn't want to give him. So now you think they're going to give that to Trey Hendrickson? I highly doubt that. But if they can get a second round pick and who knows what else, I think they're going to look to see who's the highest bidder. And the fact that everyone keeps saying, well, now that they're winning games, they're not even going to trade him. No, they're more than willing to trade him. If the price is right, they will trade his ass because they don't want to pay his ass. They barely paid Shamar Stewart.
Yeah. I wanted to switch over to some 49er wide receiver drama. We kind of touched on IU for a second, but the situation that happened during the game last week with Brandon Ayuk and Kyle Shanahan getting into a
Jennings.
argument. Jennings, yeah. And then the talk of like him being heard and what's wrong with him, and didn't sit well with some people. I got a couple sound clips here. I got one from Brian Baldinger and another one from Steve Young. I want to play the Steve Young one first because I thought it was interesting what he had to say about Jennings and what you don't want to do when you're a player on the 49ers when it comes to Kyle Shanahan.
I can tell you, Mac and Brock could care less who's open. Like I always said, if my grandmother was open, she's getting the ball. Yeah. Like I don't care who's open, man. Like and so he needs to author that and own that. And if he's not getting the call, the last thing you want to do with Kyle, in my mind, is go bitch and moan about it, especially publicly. Like I understand that maybe he promised you that you'd see some more balls. Maybe he promised you. Like it doesn't matter what was said or done. Like get with what's happening today, with where we are with the 49ers organization. Find a way to make sure that you are open and getting the football because you make that happen. You create it. And if it doesn't, and they don't want to use you, and they're not getting used the right way you want, then double down, do more. The last thing you want to do is come off the field and scream about it. Like it doesn't work. It never works. And so you just got to dig in, grit up, and go go make it. Like, fake it till you make it, bro. Like, you got to make it happen. Because Juwan's such a trusted, known commodity, he could be a lot of this Pollyanna position that people are saying that I have. Juwan's part of that, right? Juwan's part of why I can be Pollyanna, is because Juwan is somebody that's going to show up and be really productive. So I guess what I would say to him is, you go make that happen. If it doesn't, stay calm, keep working, show up, practice hard, do extra, show up, be early and be the last guy to leave. Like, do all this stuff to make sure that you empty the tank every week.
100% agree.
And then you had, it wasn't Baldinger, the other clip. It's Mark Schlereth. He wasn't as nice about what he had to say about a guy who's bitching and complaining and talking about how injured he is.
Bourne off the street is getting all the targets. Juwan also admitted to reporters after the game that he's not just playing hurt. He started detailing the injuries. He's like, I've got 5 broken ribs. All of these things, to me, after a contract holdout in the offseason, it sort of feels like he's barking and feeling sorry for himself. I see what's going on in Philly, where now they won't run the ball. They're also not winning games anymore. Like, I don't want to paint all wide receivers with a broad brush, but what's your take on that position and the way some of the guys are handling struggles in not getting targets?
Yeah, well, I mean, I want guys that can get 0 targets and throw some great blocks and be happy and excited and ecstatic about a win versus guys that, get 10 targets and get 100 some odd yards and 2 touchdowns and lose and throw a party, at the restaurant after the game. I just don't like the selfishness. And again, this goes back to the fantasy football we talked about when we started this show. You guys do realize that you're like receivers are like children. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, not all of them, but most of them are like the diva ones are like children. One, you're completely dependent. 10 other guys have to do their job exceptionally well for you to sniff a ball. And 2, you guys whine and piss and moan if you're not fed. You're just like toddlers. And it's incredible. And like I've said this many times, like, if you're going to whine and piss and moan, what I would like to do is take you down to one-on-one offensive line versus defensive line and let some defensive tackles put you in a guard and let defensive tackles beat the living piss out of you so that you understand what everybody else has to do for you to sniff a football. It is the ultimate team sport. And that position, to me, is the ultimate dependent in that team sport. We're all dependent on one another doing our jobs, but there's no position that's more dependent on everybody else doing their job than wide receiver. And the fact that you guys don't understand that blows me away. It just absolutely befuddles me.
Go Schlereth. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, well, that's how he's been. Especially, he said the same thing or similar thing about Brandon Ayuk last year. He was like, dude, that's some weak. He called him weak sauce or something like that.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, he was a 7th round wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who like he said, he gets fed because other players are doing their job. I don't get it. Like, what could you possibly be complaining about? Somebody said that he made a comment to Kyle about like what he's going through or something, like with injuries, and like he deserves to get like catches. Like, it's ridiculous, man.
I mean, the fact that he was even in the locker room saying, I'm playing with 5 broken ribs, I'm playing with this. I don't give a fuck, dude.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that, dude. That was all about himself.
Yeah, like you're all, and then Trent Williams was like, we're all dealing with stuff. Stop.
And look, I get it. It's become a sport where you have to, you gotta get what you can get.
You got to get yours, yeah.
You got to get yours, and I get that, but you're a 7th round pick. The fact that, look, he played good last year, and he was good the year before, but based on what he's done this year, the way he's acted, if I were to acquire a Trey Hendrickson and sign him to an extension, I would say goodbye to Juwan Jennings. I'd be like, just let him walk. 100%. You got Kendrick Bourne doing everything that Juwan Jennings was doing last year. And I know that's
overstated what he really is as fans. We overstated it.
Yeah.
Like I think he's more of a product of what the system is that we play.
Well, and look, he's a big, tall receiver. He's not fast.
No,
he doesn't have escapability. He doesn't have that burst of speed when he catches it and has room to run. A lot of times when he catches it, has room to run, he gets tripped up, or he gets, they run him down and tackle him because he can't break away. But he's a big target. He makes tough catches. He's made great plays. But if he continues to act the way he's acting right now, and I had an opportunity to extend a big guy like Trey Hendrickson in a trade, goodbye.
And if Demarcus Robinson can up his play, because he came back from an injury. I feel like Demarcus Robinson needs to get more love because if he's playing well too, he can kick rocks, dude.
If my receiving core consists of next year. I mean, obviously this year. I want to just disregard this year because it's not over yet. But next year, if I'm going into week 1, and my receiving core is Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, Jordan Watkins, or Kendrick Bourne, I'm like, hey, I don't need Juwan Jennings. I'm not paying you all this fucking money because, I'm sorry, you're a good, you're a pretty good receiver, but you're not dynamic. And you're not the guy that, if we have Juwan Jennings, we're going to the Super Bowl. No.
He's a cog in the wheel. He's not the wheel.
Well, and when you look at what he did in the Super Bowl, you had Snead and McDuffie all over Ayuk and Debo, which is why he was getting all his catches, because he was being covered by, their nickel corner or a safety, and he's huge. So, look, I like Juwan Jennings, but if I have to part ways with him in order to save money on the salary cap, I'll see you later, dude.
Yeah.
He's not worth it to me.
Agreed.
And I'm so glad, real quick, I'm so glad that they did not extend him this past offseason. He wanted that. He was trying to pressure them to do it. And they were like, we're not doing that.
Of, his ongoing attitude issue is partly to do with the fact that they didn't pay him? Oh, you okay there?
Yeah, I was reading something on my mom. It possibly. I think that he wanted to get something. I mean, they did give him a little bump, a little raise. But remember, I want to say that raise was incentive laden. Like, hey, if you achieve this, you can get even more money. Mm-hmm. So that's probably what he was complaining about. Like, I'm out there sacrificing my health. You're not even giving me the ball. But it's like, bro, like if you're not, I'm sorry. It's not about force feed Juwan Jennings. It's about get the ball to the open receiver that the play calls for, that the play, is set up for. That's Kyle's offense. So
unless you're prime Jerry Rice, you need to keep your freaking yapper shut.
Unless you're Jerry Rice or unless you're Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
You don't demand the ball.
Like those guys could demand the ball because those guys could take with the ball, they could do a lot of things.
Terrell Owens used to do incredible things with the ball. Like you get him the ball, he'd break 3 tackles, run for a touchdown. You're just like, whoa, he was so much bigger than everybody else.
Let's take this right into the Brandon Ayuk situation. I don't have any clips or I don't have any really like anything, but there's a lot of conversation going on. Like, what in the world is going on with Brandon Ayuk? There was a report by Jennifer Lee Chan saying he hasn't been at this facility in weeks and that he hasn't been seen around the facility and, kind of insinuating that the 49ers and him, he's scrubbed his social media, all this stuff. All that information turned out to be false. I know because I think I attached myself or retweeted or something the actual tweet and that person deleted it, right? So the report from John Lynch was he's practicing. His prior radio interview is that he's out on the practice field. I don't know what to think with this. They say week 10. They keep kind of hinting at week 10, but we know the 49ers. Week 10 can mean week 17. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to the injuries in the 49ers, I think they just answer questions for the sake of the media. You know what I mean? Like, they're never truthful. They're never like upfront about it. And maybe they don't really know. I'm just, Jennifer Lee Chan apologized on YouTube. Yeah, I'm not really cracking on her. I'm just saying that's who
Well, she
reported
should, because she made a mistake. I mean, she literally ran a story that was complete bullshit. And it's like, look, bro, like
Gotta check your sources, man.
the
Like,
Niners worked out
Spider-Man.
Stone Blanton. Remember that guy? But no,
Oh,
like
wow.
the
I
fact
really
that she
moved the
ran
needle.
with that story was like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like that was such bullshit. And she's like, oh, he's not following the Niners on social. He hasn't followed them since he was in their contract dispute, and that was proven. Like, hey, he hasn't been following them since last season. What are you talking about? And then it was like pie in her face, like, oh shit, I guess I didn't do my research. And so that whole story was just. That was just a bad take altogether. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then John Lynch also just said, oh yeah, he's been in the facility. He was seen at the facility, Wednesday?
He was outside his window.
And I think that I know a lot of people were like, well, he's not, John Lynch isn't giving, a date on when he's going to come back. Exactly, Peter. Absolutely. But and I think they haven't given him a return date because they don't know where they're going to be at when he's ready to go. Imagine if San Francisco loses the next 3 games. Okay.
Yeah, and I know we talked about this with Sterling. Like, you still want to see what you have, yes. But like, do you?
But
some teams would just say.
I think
then,
if you win, like let's say you're winning, right? You have a winning record, and then you say, okay, week 10, that's when we schedule him to come back. If you lose the next 2 games, 3 games, then you go, okay, you know what? When you're 100%, you come back. And if that means you come back week 16, week 17, then so be it. But we're not going anywhere. We're going to struggle to make the playoffs, but we'd rather you be 100% than force you back out there.
Yeah.
I think they want to gauge where they're at. Even if they think, hey, he's probably close to 100%. No, we got to make sure that he's more than 100%. That he's fully ready to go because we're paying him a fuck ton of money.
He tore his whole knee last year.
Yeah.
He tore
Thanks,
everything.
Chiefs.
Thanks, Chiefs. I'm of the mindset of you come back when it's 100%, kind of like the Brock Purdy situation, because I don't want to hear anything about setbacks or re-injury and stuff. Like, dude, and we've been so snake bitten with injuries for the last, 13 years or so.
Yeah.
That if we can control what's going on with an injury, as far as like holding that person out until they're 100%, then do that. Because we still don't know the story behind Brock Purdy and what happened with them being like, yeah, he's ready to go, but then he really wasn't ready to go. Yeah. And he actually was really still hurt. Like, I don't know what to believe with this franchise. I don't know what to believe with John and Kyle. But the one thing I'll say, like you said, let this man be 100%.
Yeah.
Like, and he's, he might not be 100% till next season, technically.
Who knows? I mean, people were even talking about like, oh, maybe he'll be ready for week 1. It was like, whoa, okay, pump the brakes here, guys. Come on. But
it was never going to happen.
But I think the same applies for Brock Purdy. I think, I really feel like Brock pulled I'm the starting quarterback. I feel capable enough to go. I want to go. And then he went out there and was like, holy fuck, I was not ready to go. That was a bad move.
It was.
And so now he's like, how you feeling? I'm not 100%. Okay, we're going to go with Mac. And I think he's seen how capable Mac is. So it's not like, okay, if I'm not 100%, it's not a detriment to the team that I'm not out there. If we had Brandon Allen as our backup quarterback, we would be screaming for Brock to come back this week. Like, what are you waiting for? Get back out there.
As a 49er fan, dude, I don't care who starts at quarterback as long as we win.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that if you had a crappy backup quarterback, it would be hard to watch. And we've seen Mac Jones go out there, make some really good throws, but also play like with a bad knee, play with a strained oblique. That's hard to do. And he looked limited against the Buccaneers. To me, he looked very limited. Yeah. It looked like he was hurt, but he's less hurt than Brock Purdy.
That's what they say. I've seen that in an injury report. Yeah, they're like, he's more limited. He's limited, but he's less limited than Brock. I'm like, geez, dude, what
Well,
the hell?
and then there was a narrative back in week 4 that, oh, well, Brock is less injured than Mac. And in reality, that apparently that wasn't even true. If Mac loses the next 3 games and throws 2+ picks per game,
then
and Mac's 1 TD, Brock still isn't well enough to play.
probably they're done for the year.
They're done for the year. It doesn't matter at that point. It's like,
If they
just
lose
roll.
the next 3 games and Brock isn't ready to come back, they're finished.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
And then you know what? You know what that means is that next year we have an easy schedule again because we're going to be a shitty team. So it's not like next season. If the team sucks this season, it's not like, oh, well, next year you're going to have a much harder schedule because you were crappy again. No, it means you're going to get an easy schedule like you did this year. The problem is that everyone that was crappy last year have made dramatic improvements. You look at the Giants now going with Jackson Dart. He's made a difference. The Falcons, they've made improvements. Now they have a number 1 ranked defense and the number 2 ranked offense. Houston is kind of up and down. The Colts, now they're like world beaters, scoring all kinds of points with Daniel Jones. So there's a lot of things that can happen in the season, in an off season as well.
It's funny that Madden knew that because in a couple of my Madden playthroughs that I started, the Colts were world beaters on. I'm like, what does Madden know about the Colts that we don't know?
Madden does not understand. They cannot comprehend the Niners defense because in Madden, their defense is fucking terrible. And in reality, they actually have a top 10 defense. They have the 6th ranked defense in the league. But if you watch them on Madden, they like on simulation, they fucking give up 3rd down left and right. You're like, okay.
I think the Niners defense is pretty bad, to be honest with you.
Well, I think the problem is that they're reeling from first losing Bosa. Okay, Bosa's out. Let's figure it out. Let's put this back together again. Fred's out. Holy shit, we didn't count on this. Now what do we do? And you're asking a lot of young. Once Fred goes out, you're asking a lot of young guys to step in and figure it out on the fly. And that's tough.
I feel like me and you are more similar than you could think. Because like, I don't have the greatest feeling about Atlanta either. Yeah, she's like next year they play the AFC West. That's like that sucks. I don't want to play the AFC West.
AFC West is Denver,
Kansas City.
Well, they played Kansas City 2 years ago. They're not playing the AFC West. Didn't they play? Maybe that was just a team they played. Yeah, because they'd have to play like the Raiders, the Broncos, the Chiefs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be like I did with the Ayuk stuff. It's just we gotta.
Yeah, Madden doesn't account for Salah. It doesn't. Watch my streams. It totally does not. They're like, who's out there?
Well, no, they don't even have the defensive coaches or assistants in the game. They're just like fake names.
Yeah, they're just dudes.
You have to physically make the Niners defense be good in that game. What I do is I just stunt my ends all the time, where I have them on the end, and then when the quarterback's his hut, I go over, I loop over to this where the guard center is and try to make sacks, and either I get there or I get gouged. Like it's just amazing. Like man-to-man zone doesn't matter, guys. Guys are running wide open sometimes in that game. There is a play that I run on offense where they put McCaffrey as a receiver on the outside. The computer doesn't cover him. It's like a glitch.
They're like, what's that? What's going on?
So every so often I either throw it and I get like an 80-yard touchdown. Like the guy's wide open. It's pretty crazy. We've pretty much banged on everything. I guess we can talk about score prediction for the game.
I think so.
I am.
Well,
I don't know if you want
how about this?
First.
Let's pull this up. I'm sharing the screen now. This is the NFL Network's picks for Niners Falcons Sunday night. The majority of them took the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, when you look at what the Falcons have, it makes sense. Daniel Jeremiah had it 24-21. Wolf had it 21-20. Rank had it 24-17. All these scores, if you follow the Niners, NFL Network, they pretty much have the same scores almost every single week.
Yeah, it's like
You never see a blowout. You never see
No.
31-17. You never see, 27-10. Look, these are 1 point, 3 point, 4 point games, 10 point or a 7 point game. So these are all within scoring reach. So, I mean, even they're saying it's probably going to be a close game. Why? Because you got George Kittle coming back. That's a huge difference maker right there.
I think the big issue with them is Bijan Robinson. He got 238 yards last week, including
he
170
killed it.
rushing, 68 receiving. And the Niners have been absolutely poopy stopping the run. They're like, what, middle of the pack? They're not great.
I can tell you right now, the Niners defensively, that's scoring defense. That's red zone defense. Oh, I passed it. Let me look it up right now. But against the run, the Niners are the 14th ranked defense against the run. They're allowing an average of 107 yards per game. The Falcons are the 16th ranked rushing defense, allowing 114 yards a game. Unfortunately, the bad part is that as a rushing offense, we're like nearly dead last. We're ranked 30th, averaging 82.2 yards a game.
Which
that
is something you
has
never thought
to
you'd
change.
See. Yeah.
And now look,
It's not sustainable whether Brock or Mac play quarterback with that run defense. Or, excuse me, with that running offense.
And here's another thing, too, is that I think another reason why Brock Purdy is not going to play this Sunday, which we know he's out, is that the Falcons blitz a lot, and they have a really good pass rush. And I don't think they don't want Brock going out there and running for his life.
She's concerned about Mac because he can't move.
Yeah, but I think Mac becomes like your sacrificial lamb in this game, where it's like, hey, Mac, just do what you can do. And then the following week, I think that's when we get Brock Purdy back.
I like when they ask Kittle what the reasons for the run game struggle. And he's just like, well, I mean, we played good teams and, we've had guys injured, like Pooney's not all the way back. And, well, guys like Connor Colby. And like, my man was trying to stay politically correct and not bury anybody.
Well, no, I mean, he's not going to do that, but
right.
Connor Colby has been an issue. They haven't been able to fix that. I know they brought in some other linemen, but nobody has been able to solve the issue with Connor Colby being an inexperienced 7th round offensive lineman who hasn't taken that next step. I know Dominic Pooney has a knee injury that they finally addressed that, yeah, it is bothering him. It's been bothering him all season. And he didn't practice on.
I like how they randomly put him on the injury list. Like,
well, he didn't practice on Wednesday, I want to say, but he practiced. No, actually, he didn't practice on Tuesday, but he practiced Wednesday and today, or Monday.
Like they put him on the injury list, and it's like, but he's been hurt the whole year. Just put him on the injury list all the time.
So, but
you got us. Oops.
I know, but I think that for San Francisco again. I think when it comes to their offense, I feel like they're going to attack them through the air. They are going to test what the
Strawberry, you're really smart, man. You got your shit on point. Good job.
Yeah, Colby's not good with the run blocking. He gets confused very easily, and he misses a lot of his assignments.
I love women that know football, man. I freaking love it.
But I think they're probably going to attack them through the air. Let me see. The Falcons, I mean, they have the number 1 ranked passing defense, only allowing 139 yards a game. I mean, they beat Josh Allen. But, we got to hope that Shanahan can dial it up. I'm going to... Yeah, their tight end's going to kill us. Look, it's going to be a tough game for San Francisco. They're at home. They're getting George Kittle back, which is going to help. Call me a homer. I'm going to go with San Francisco, and I'm going to go 24-21 Niners. It's going to be a close game, and we're going to squeak this one out and get the win. Let's go Niners!
I'm going to go, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the Niners losing this game as well. Similar to last week, I'm going to go with a similar score as I went to it last week. I'm going to go 31-19. Niners lose. The Niners just haven't been able to score more than like 20 points this year. I think they got 26 in the game against the Rams, if I'm not correct, in overtime. But even as good as Mac's been playing, then their offense, once they hit the 20-point mark, it's pretty much that's it. And I just think with their defense reeling, they could say all they want about how Tatum is this next man up thing. They're just lacking they're just lacking talent on defense, man. It's not even that they're not like they're really well coached. Sterling Dre just comes down to the fact that you run out of competent bodies. They have a lot of young guys that really haven't arrived yet, which is everybody knew that was going to be the case. I mean, other than Michael Williams, CJ West and Alfred Collins, they're okay. And then in the secondary on the corners, we're good. It's the slot, and it doesn't seem to matter who it is. Inside my heart, I want the Niners to win this game. I think they can.
Absolutely.
But my gut is telling me that they're going to lose this one. If they win this one, I'll eat crow. It's just if their offensive line can block at all.
That's the biggest question.
And we can get Kittle involved and Demarcus Robinson involved and Juwan Jennings involved and heck, freaking Kendrick Bourne. And maybe the run game. I'll put it this way: this game is going to come down to if the offensive line can play better football, and I'm talking in run and pass. If the Niners offensive line can kind of have a little bit of a renaissance game where they play well, I think the Niners have a shot of winning this game. But if they've been playing, like they've been playing, they just don't score enough points. Their defense isn't good enough. This defense could really do well with an offense that has a lot of ball control because they're so young. You know what I mean? But what are you going to do? I just don't know at this point. I really don't. But I'm going to go Niners losing 31-19. Unfortunately, I know I'm a Niners channel, but I'm not a homer. I mean, I am a homer, but I'm not a homer.
I get it, man. I get it.
I call people simps who police you. That's the one thing I want to say to people before we get out of here. People on social media who like to police your fanhood and tell you you're a certain way or you're not a fan if you you're negative. What does that mean? If you address things that are so glaring, we have injuries every year and it's so much more than everybody else, you're a hater. No, I'm not a hater. I'm just stating obvious facts. If I'm a 49ers fan, at least as someone with a functioning brain, you're going to think, man, well, everybody's hurt this year in the NFL, but the Niners are hurt every year. They need to do something about it. Nothing should ever just be we addressed it 3 years ago. So what? Figure it out. The Fred Warner injury, freak injury. The Bosa injury, he's got injury issues to boot. But a lot of the soft tissue stuff, the stuff where guys get hurt in practice, the stuff where guys get re-injured when they're rehabbing, all that stuff. That's the stuff that I say we need to figure out. Freak injuries are one thing. Reoccurring soft tissue injuries to the same players or guys coming back and getting re-injured or guys coming back early like Brock Purdy, all that stuff it just sounds like they have a situation where they have a health department or whatever they call it, strength and conditioning that just doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
I also say this too. Obviously, there's a lot of things Niners have to do. One of the most important things San Francisco needs to do is not drop the ball. Make the catches. Please.
Yeah, no more doinkers, man. You got to catch the ball. And stop. It's funny they say that they've been saved on some plays where the offense on the other team, guys are wide open and they drop passes. There's a couple games where the Niners could have been blown out if a couple wide open catches get caught and guys were nowhere in sight. So clean it up on offense and on defense. Catch the ball, and on defense, I don't know, be within 5 yards of your receiver on any given play, please. But we're going to get out of here, guys. We'll be back next Friday. I don't know who's hosting, but I think we'll have the three of us back, me, Dre, and Sterling Bennett.
I think it's Sterling hosting.
It'll be Sterling, okay.
I think. I'm not sure.
Hopefully the Niners win on Sunday. I am
Maybe it's
pulling for
me.
them to win. I just don't think they will. But if they do win, I'm going to change my story and I'm going to say that I believed in them the whole time. So
This is either going to be the beginning of the end, or this is going to be the start of something really, really cool.
yeah,
But this is when it
right.
has to happen this
Yep.
week.
This is nut cutting time, guys. They got to do it. So everybody take care. We'll see you guys next Friday. I'll see you guys on Monday. Dre, I'll see you probably sometime next week too, or this week.
Yeah, I'll be back Monday.
Check out Dre Area Sports on his YouTube channel, Dre Area Sports. He is like literally all over the place. X, Instagram.
Nobody watches my stuff on YouTube though. They're like, "What?
Yeah,
Dre Area Sports? The hell with that?"
There's a ton of us on. You had 58 on X, and I had 62. Nobody watched on YouTube. So, hey, whoever's
Excellent.
watching on X, thank you so much. We'd love it if you came to YouTube, both of the channels, 49ers First Takes, Dre Area Sports. But we'll take what we can get. Everybody,
That's it.
have a great rest of your Friday. We'll see you guys on the other side next week. Peace.